In this video, I'm going to be talking about how I made the spiral mugs. So I really liked the way these mugs came out, so I wanted to talk about how I made them, my process, and how you can make your own. So they're pretty simple. If you've ever thrown on the wheel, there's a lot of videos out there that do a better job than I would explaining how to center on the wheel, but centering is basically just how you get the clay in the center of the wheel, so then you can throw it properly on, so it's centered and even. And so it's basically what I started with was, I just started with a cylinder, a basic cylinder, but I made sure to exaggerate the walls because after looking at some mug shapes, I really liked this exaggerated, curvy mug shape. I liked that. It made more room for the handle, and I enjoyed the shape. So I wanted to play around with some textures and designs that I can do onto the cylinder and onto the mug, and so I went with a spiral. I got this inspiration from, if you know John the Potter, he's also a YouTuber, and there's a lot of Instagram artists that I watch about ceramics, and a lot of YouTubers that I watch about ceramics, and a lot of them use a lot of spiral and texture, and so I wanted to play around and use them as inspiration, I guess, for my mugs, which I really did like their ideas. So I took them into consideration when making these mugs. I really had a lot of fun with these two. I wanted to make them pretty much the same, so I threw the exact same 3, and then I did another 3 after this one. So I had made 6 in total. I did end up failing one though. The one that I failed, I had a few air bubbles in, and when I tried to remove the air bubbles, it got super off balance, and it didn't really work out well. I also really didn't like the shape of it, so I kept trying to play around with it, and the rim kind of moved, and I think it just got too wobbly, and I couldn't really handle it, and got too short. Decided to scrap it. That's why I failed that one. It'll happen when you're throwing, and its failure is always part of the process. I had thrown a 2-part vase, and I had completely failed that. That was a YouTube short, so I think failure is just you learn more when you fail, and these mugs definitely look a lot better now that I've done like 100 of them, because this isn't my first mug. I haven't done this exact shape, but I did like a bunch of mugs before this, and after throwing so many, I know what I like in mugs, I know what shapes, and I know how to throw them nice in the way I like them. And I want to make sure the walls are thin too. And that's one thing about this mug that I really like that I learned from my past mugs. When looking at my past mugs that I had made, the walls were super thick, and the bottom had a lot of extra clay that made the mug unnecessarily heavy. So I changed that with these mugs, and I made sure that they had no extra clay, and I made sure that they were very light and thin. And I didn't ever record the handle process though for this mug making because I hate pulling handles, if I'm being honest. They came out good, but I definitely struggled a bit when I was making them. If you want to know how to pull handles, I would say just look online on a bunch of other YouTube videos, because I'm not the person to explain how to pull handles. But then I can talk about how I did the glazes on these mugs. So in the past, I'm not very good at glazing, but like glazing my pieces, I'm not good to getting around to glazing things and not finishing things very well. But for these, I knew the glaze combination that I wanted to use. So I used, we fire at cone 0605, or 0506, I think it was 05. And that's our bisque, and then our glaze firing is cone 5. And I used Smoky Merlot, I used seaweed, I used blue rutile, and I used obsidian. I first dipped the mugs, and that was basically, for each dip you do is 3 coats. So I dipped the mug inside of obsidian, and then I layered Smoky Merlot, seaweed, and blue rutile. So if you're ever using these glazes and firing to this temperature, that glaze combination is one of my favorites that I found. I got it from another person inside class, but they had found it online. I would say just look up the recipes, because there's a lot of really cool recipes with these glazes online that I found. And they turned out amazing. As you can see here, the glaze combo it dripped perfectly, which is exactly how I planned it, and it just merged well together, and I really love the colors. The only thing I can complain about, though, is there was a little crawling inside of the obsidian, which was the black base coat put down, and there was a little crawling on that glaze, which kind of sucks, because on a few pieces there's little bare clay, but it is what it is. I think I can go back and fix it if I really wanted to, but that's how I made the mugs, and I really enjoyed making these. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one.